Hi folks, this is Jason. Hope you're all okay today. I'm just going to share with you quickly my top favourite 10 atheist YouTubers and rationalists out there on YouTube that I think are my favourite, my top 10. Spent an afternoon listening to these people. Number 1, Atheist Experience. Atheist Experience, I'm not saying that they are number 1 top, but they're in my top 10. The Atheist Experience, I like the guy, the ex-minister. He's a nice chap, but sometimes they say things they can't back it up. He talks about evolution, he talks about it's proven, but what about mutations? Mutations don't show us that new species can develop. And before you start doing the Dawkins shuffle about cows, and cows can grow bigger and bigger, and then they can, and you know, Dawkins in his books he shows like pictures of animals like cows that you can do genetic engineering with them, make them bigger, make them smaller, and because you can do that with the gene pool of a cow, then the implication is that you can develop new species. Well, that's not mutation, and so anyhow, that's Atheist Experience as well, coming out with evolution. But I like the guy, he's a nice guy, but they're really out to just mock Christianity. Then you've got Edward Current. It makes pictures and cartoon characters, and I just think he doesn't understand Christianity, and he sets straw men up and he knocks them down, and they're just in his own head. Go Green 18. Well, basically she's got a lot of sexual issues, really. She's obviously come out of Mormonism. She's got a big issue about sex, and she obviously wants to do a lot of sex, and being an atheist allows her to do that. That's where she's coming from what I've gathered. But you don't get that at first. You have to go onto her website. She's got a website about sexual ethics and all that, and then when you start to research it, you begin to find this out. And number 4, you've got Mrs. Jones, or Zena Jones, or ZJemp TV. She's meticulous, she's logical, and she's elegant, says one review of her, and she's authoritative. But she's also a lesbian, not that I'm being critical, but that she has an agenda where anybody who seems anti-gay, she sniffs them out and she crucifies them. So that's her agenda, really. And she's got that kind of anger against anybody who might differ towards her when it comes to her sexuality. Then we've got Thunderfoot, the mighty Thunderfoot. His videos are very clever. He's very good at making scientific statements. I've tried to find information about some of the statements that he makes. I went on NASA, check out some of the things he's saying, and you know, he knows his stuff. I've tried to find people who can criticise him. I've not been able to find anybody who's tackled him really on his scientific situation. So he obviously knows his stuff, and he's a bit of a hard nut to crack in that area. But he has made a big howler. He might be good at science, but he's terrible at public relations, because he took a Muslim guy video and manipulated it, and made the Muslim guy look as if he said some violent things towards him. And you know, it's kind of shown Thunderfoot's true colours, that he really has been using people who were weaker than him to ride their videos in order to make his videos have a wider audience. Then there's No Stamp Collector. I've not put many notes here, but I think it was a cartoon kind of like figure. Again, straw men, setting up straw men. Going on bashing about the Bible's full of slavery, the usual kind of stuff. I thought very disrespectful towards Christianity, very irreverent personally. Then we got Pat Condell, or whatever it is, Pat Condell. I mean, the guy, I think he sat on a couple of porcupines when he was a kid, and he's never got off them, because the guy's so full of anger, it's unbelievable. Even one atheist who was reviewing him said he's crossed over the line into Islamophobia. And the guy is so full of anger. He's very witty, for the first video, but once you look at other videos, you see that it's just, well, he's a one-track pony, and he's just going on and on and on about the same thing. Then we got Mr. Deity. They're kind of like these cool atheists. They're sort of trying to be cool, non-threatening to Christians, but they're completely clueless. They don't really understand what Christianity is. Then you've got Richard Dawkins Net, who put the high-profile atheists on, like Sam Harris and Christopher Hitchens and Daniel Dennett and Dawkins. And you know, when I was listening to the sophisticated videos that they make of interviews with Thunderfoot, with the Four Horsemen, and I was listening to them, and I mean, these people are just on another planet. I mean, they caricature Christianity. Hitchens and Dawkins and Sam Harris and Daniel Dennett, they caricature Christianity. They've got an image in their head that's been formed by their own backgrounds, by their own whatever experiences, and they think that's Christianity. And so they think they're good when they shoot that down, and they're showing a lot of prejudice and a lot of ignorance. Quilla Soup. I can't remember what Quilla Soup, but I think it might have been a cartoon again, another straw man thing. And then out of that 10, one more that I looked at was Professor MTH, who was some lawyer guy who some clever clogs, and talked about the Supreme Court made a hearing against Christians in a law firm for being discriminatory towards homosexual people. And so, summing up, am I going to become an atheist because of all this? Well, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be brutally honest. The only person that really I found difficult to tackle was Thunderfoot, because he's got an expertise in science that I haven't got, and it would take me a bit of time to work out some of the things he said, because I'm not that. So he's the only person out of all those 10 or 11, and maybe one or two others that I watched, he's the only person that really was the only one I found difficult to crack. But then, you know, he has got some of his weaknesses that have come out in other areas. But just because he's weak in one area doesn't mean to say that he's wrong in another. I know that. So I'm being brutally honest there. Sometimes one or two atheists would say something and it would make you think. You know, I'm just being honest about, you know, one or two things. Like some atheist guy who's not on this list mentioned about prophecy and stuff like that, but I mean, if I be honest, and I'm being honest, would I become an atheist because of all these people that I've listened to? And the answer is no. The answer is no, because on their grounds, on the grounds of evidence, I didn't actually listen to or hear any evidence. Even Thunderfoot, you know, I mean, he goes on about science, but I didn't actually get any evidence. I've got no evidence to show that my Christian faith has been completely destroyed, completely shown to be false. That, you know, like I said, I'm being honest. Once or twice, one atheist might say something, and it makes you think, and it does challenge you. But I mean, I spent a whole afternoon listening to these people. So if that's your environment all afternoon, you know, it's going to affect your mind. So I would say, on the basis of evidence, I really didn't find any evidence that actually shook Christianity to its core. That's an afternoon with all these YouTube atheists. And, you know, I still love Jesus Christ. I still want to follow him. I still want to serve him. one or two things that atheists said I'll have to go and research and think about, but there's been nothing that has actually proved that Christianity is wrong, and to the fact where I've lost my faith with these because of these atheists. But I love the Lord Jesus Christ, and I will follow him. And I can honestly say that there's nothing that attracts me to this group, this atheist group, or groups, or atheism. There's nothing that attracts me whatsoever. I don't find it an attractive thing. I don't find it attractive because all these people, all these YouTube, are showing a lot of prejudice. There's a lot of prejudice in all these advocates that I've watched, and I don't find that attractive. Many of them are quite aggressive, which I don't find attractive, in the sense that I don't mind people being aggressive if they're standing up for something, so long as they allow other people to have freedom. But their aggression is to the point where I just feel that it's not fair, that they're just hammering people all the time and not willing to, and painting people in such black and dark colours, and I just don't agree with that. And summing up of it all, really, of an afternoon with all these atheists, I just think that they're just churning out a lot of prejudice, really. That I honestly, I really do. I just feel that it's just prejudice cloaked up in sophisticated arguments and sophisticated stuff. And I'm not so sure that many people are actually being influenced by it, in the sense that I think those who really have some kind of education can see through it. I think they get a lot of hits because each one of them has a particular gift, and can be mesmerising in their own way. I mean, Thunderfoot's quite mesmerising with his scientific jargon. Go Green can be quite mesmerising. Edwin Current, they've all got gifts of communication in some way, where they are able to present themselves in a way that can get an audience. But actually, people who are actually have some kind of education can see through the cleverness and see the prejudice that's there. So that's my thoughts, really, of an afternoon with the top 10 favourite atheist of YouTube, that I sift through the YouTube atheist community. So thank you for listening, and God bless you. I'm going to stay with Jesus, because he said, I am the way, the truth and the life, and no one can come to the Father but through me. And I won't become an atheist even if you paid me £10 million. Alright, take care. Because I really don't think that it's rational.